This work is by Watteau. It's called The Cajoler, the Faun, Faun perhaps representing Bacchus. It's in a private collection. This shows the early influence of Audran on Watteau, who made these works around 1708 among the earliest drawings that Watteau has made that are found in this format. They were among a series of 8 arabesques that decorated a dining room in the Hôtel Nointel, Nointel, recently a house for students of the École Politique in the 7th district of Paris. There were also small ceiling panels in the same house that were made in a similar spirit. Bacchus, the god of wine, in the upper register. The cajoler, a young traveler with a staff, lures an elegantly dressed woman, perhaps representing the allegory of spring. Other decorations by Watteau in the Chateau de la Motte and the Hotel Chauvelin have been lost or destroyed. Here we can see the supple brush, the refined color, and that seem to be better adept at mixing figures and decorative motifs than that experienced by Audran. So there's a strong sense of naturalism and sensuality, which were also found in Audran's work. This work by Watteau is as famous, Pilgrimage to the Isle of Cythera. This is the more famous of the two versions, which is found in the Musée du Louvre in Paris in 1717. When Watteau was initially accepted by the Royal Academy on June 30th, 1712, his colleagues, the members of the Academy, asked him for a reception piece, as was the custom. In a departure from normal practice, the subject was left up to the artist to choose. Watteau did not submit the painting in the usual time frame, and there were several calls to order in 1714 and 1715, which were finally followed by a 6-month demand on January in 1717 for a painting to be delivered to the Academy by August. Watteau was received near the end of August in 1717 with this painting. He was then made a full member of the Royal Academy in Paris. Though the painting was quickly executed, Watteau's idea for the painting had developed over a long period of time. In 1709, a small painting, more naively rendered, was produced and identified through the engravings of this work by Mercier and L'Armessine. Watteau presented the work as the Pilgrimage to the Isle of Cythera. Why Cythera? What does it mean? Francois Moreau, Moureau, in a 1984 essay, talked at length about the sources. Moreau said, "It was born at the fairs and operas between 1710 and 1715. We first hear about it in the plays of the court and city performed at the opera. First at Versailles in the gardens of Cythera in a play called The Pleasures of the Enchanted Isle, first performed in 1664. The Amour déguisé, the Disguised Loves, of 1713 was performed by Bourgeois, Bourgeois, on the stage of the Palais Royal, where one saw the first of the many embarkations. The prologue of this play shows a seaport where the fleet of love is ready to set sail for the Isle of Cythera, Venus's island. The lovers are chained together by garlands of flowers. They hasten to the lure of Venus, Bacchus, leading bacchantes satyrs following her to the discomfort of Minerva and her nymphs, who symbolize the struggle of reason against the, quote, blind ecstasy, end of quote, of love. A prologue by Fuzelier, Fuzelier, for his play Arion, Arion, in 1714, situated the scene at the end of the voyage on the Isle of Cythera. Fuselier put on a performance of the Pilgrimage from Cythera, the name of his play, in 1713, at the fair of Saint Laurent, Stlaurent. Thus, said Moreau, inaugurated a cycle of embarkations in the traveling theaters of the time. End of quote. So we can actually see here the various plays that were performed of the subject. The Duke of Orleans attended one of these plays. And the plays can be interpreted on two levels. Number one, a lover's departure for Cythera, and number two, a pleasure trip down the Seine River to St. Cloud on the outskirts of Paris, with a comic echo. The theater represents the bank of the Seine. One sees a boat similar to a galiote, a covered barge, that is, at St. Cloud, with love at the helm. One hears the drum beat behind the scene and the boatmen calling out. The travelers are disguised so as not to be recognized. This is a voyage devoted to infidelity, quick love affairs, frivolous pleasures of the various participants. The Pilgrimage to Cythera was performed at Dole and Laplace's theater at the Fair Saint-Germain, Germain, in 1717. This was a famous performance. Watteau's title was initially crossed out in the Academy records, and the name Fête Galante was written in its place. The term was first used in the Academy, but was already acceptable for the fashion of gatherings by the social elite, and representations of such gatherings staged at the theater. The term Fête Galante would be used again 1 year later to record the initial acceptance of Nicolas Lancret, Lancret, into the Academy. Thus, the Academy maintained its hierarchy while making way for a new subject matter. Thus, French elite culture is recognized, as well as a new style based on Flemish and French merrymaking and park festivities, these paintings that were popular in the previous century. There were different kinds of performances enacting Fête Galante fashions. There were the actors of the Italian comedy, that is, Harlequin, Columbine, Mazatin, Doctor, Crispin, Scaramouche, Pantalon, Pulcinella, etc. These were conventional plots written about adultery, old age, love, and jealousy. The theater of the fair, the short and improvisational parades were very popular. The magistrate Thomas Sim Goulet, Geulettete, was one of the theater amateurs who hosted parades. The troops of actors were usually drawn from a circle of friends, new and varied divertissements that attracted invited friends and spectators of the first rank to these country houses for the performances. Can a picture talk? Yes. Non-specific, open-ended gestures, speaker and listeners suggested conversations. The contemporaries seem to admire Watteau's work. A new aristocracy, argues Mary Vidal, was created, which cultivated good breeding, skills, and arts, elegant speech and manners were looked up to conversation as an ideal social practice and art form. A proliferation of handbooks, treatises, literary works analyzed and promoted such conversations. A significant subject and occupation or art form, comparable to playing music, dancing, and acting. All topics of conversation are equal. Nothing is too little or nothing is too grand. The loose, painterly style also conveys the movement between the figures to the heavier, emphatic passages where there seems to be intrigue.